Congressman Ro Khanna tried to stop the assassination of Soleimani before it happened. It's an amazing story. Check it out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel.
Hi, thank you so much for taking my call. Representative Khanna, could you talk about your the resolution that was passed yesterday about Iran, war with Iran, and whether it's binding, non-binding? What does Trump have to even abide by it? And I hear that he doesn't have to sign it because it's non-binding. Just a few more details about that. Thank you.
Great question.
It's an excellent question. So the War Powers resolution yesterday was Alyssa Slotkin's bill, and it's not binding. I mean, it's a concurrent resolution, which is allowed under the War Powers, but the president doesn't have to sign it, and it's never really been adjudicated if the House and the Senate pass something, how binding it is on the president. That would go to the Supreme Court. As a practical matter, Trump is, unlikely to abide by it, but it would show that Congress disapproves of the action. Now, we need to get still a majority in the Senate. But that is why Senator Sanders and I have our own bill, which Speaker Pelosi has said she would bring to the floor, that would defund any offensive military action in Iran. And, Tom, if you give me a minute, it's worth really explaining this. I mean, we had an amendment in the National Defense Authorization Act about 2 months ago that would have prevented the Soleimani killing. It said 0 funds would be allocated for any attack on Iran or any assassination attempt on Iranian officials. 0. And that passed the House with 27 Republicans. But it was stripped from the conference committee. And Senator Sanders and I at the time blasted, frankly, the Congress for acquiescing to give $738 billion to the Department of Defense without my amendment that would have restricted any offensive action in Iran. We knew, given that the Pentagon fought tooth and nail, that was going to mean that they had basically carte blanche to plan offensive attacks, and that's exactly what they ended up doing a month or so later. Now our bill, we're reintroducing it, and we're saying cut off funding for any offensive action in Iran. That's how Vietnam ended. You had Senator Church, who basically had bills defunding any troops going into Cambodia, Laos, or Thailand, defunding troops in Vietnam in 72, and Nixon brings that back in 73. Congress has the power of the purse, and that's really what would be binding to make a commitment to stop funding any offensive war in Iran.
Congressman, my question is, why has the media or anyone spoke of the relationship between Iran and the United States prior to when Mossadegh was assassinated?
Don, my understanding is that the CIA in 53 overthrew Mossadegh. I'd have to confirm it, but I think it was an overthrow. And that's knowledge. I mean, that was common knowledge, at least in the Obama administration. It fundamentally ruptured our relationship with Iran. It was one of the rationales for the Iranian Revolution to depose of the Shah, who was seen as too aligned with America and the West. And that's why Obama said we needed a fundamental reset in the relationship with Iran, and actually acknowledged the role the CIA had played in the overthrow of Mossadegh. And he made an extraordinary effort and progress with the peace agreement with Iran, or the nuclear agreement, I should say, with Iran. And unfortunately, this president has undermined all of that. What Obama did may have been the best chance in a generation for peace in the Middle East.
We had a nice little crowd out here last night with no war in Iran here at home. I'm really grateful that you're my representative. What is this, 50? The bill that you just forwarded, which is 5548, I think is the number, 43?
Yes.
It's really a great idea. But you brought the church amendment up, and I did some research. And, I'm thinking about what McGovern did in the 70s, which was to pull us out. He tried to get us out of Vietnam. And then, of course, he wasn't successful. And later, of course, in 73, when he withheld the funds, we eventually got out. But today, I'd like for us to, as Democrats, progressive Democrats, to recognize that we would like to send all of the troops home. And our message is not just in Iraq and Iran and the Middle East and Israel, but we are a party of...
Joe, we've got 30 seconds. Can you wrap up your question so Congressman Khanna can answer it?
Yes, Congressman. Can you put forward a bill that says we want to end the hostilities?
There you go.
Well, Joe, we have been talking about responsible withdrawal of troops. I mean, we've been in Afghanistan for over 18 years and escalating there. We need to bring our troops back from Afghanistan. We need to responsibly withdraw from Iraq. I mean, they're sitting there as targets, partly because they're there. If they were back home and we have to do it responsibly, they wouldn't be targets. So I agree with you that Democrats should be for responsible withdrawal.